The ANC, the ANC NEC member, the Sihle Zikalala, who's also the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the chairperson of the ANC in KwaZulu-Natal. I just want to bring in political analyst Thabo Shole-Mashao. You've been watching and listening to this. By now, we were expecting that the president of the ANC would have started to deliver that Peter Mokaba memorial lecture, Thabo, but that has not happened. From what you've seen, I mean, we've seen a group of young, of members rather, of the ANC Youth League saying that they also want to come in. There were demands of accreditation. There was some misunderstanding or miscommunication of sorts that happened there. Now a decision has been made that the president of the ANC will address the young people who've gathered there at this venue in Polokwane, but from the back of a truck outside. Well, that's like common sense to me in terms of COVID-19 compliance. Otherwise, cancelling this event would have been embarrassing for the ANC following what happened yesterday, Thabo.
Certainly, Britain, it would have been another egg on the president's face and the face of the African National Congress for not having anticipated proper arrangements, particularly as they celebrate the 110th birthday on the 8th of January. One would have thought that preparations would have been a little bit more exquisite, a little bit more well arranged ahead of time. So definitely it would have been an egg on the face of the African National Congress. And now they're saving face by doing it outside where there will be at least a little bit of capacity expansion on the side of those who'd like to attend. But then one would also say that the spirit of Peter Mokaba is perhaps prevalent because he was radical. He was the one to go against authority, and perhaps the young lions are trying to roar as the late former president of the African National Congress Youth League, Peter Mokaba, would have done. And one would easily come to a conclusion that he would have also done the very same as they are doing.
Yeah, your sentiment there was sort of echoed by two of the ANC Youth League members when they spoke to my colleagues there, Spamandla Goge and also to Pule Letshwiti Jones, to say what you are seeing is vibrancy of the young people and similar to what Peter Mokaba would have done. But I mean, I must wonder about the administration issues here, because if you're organizing such a memorial lecture, you should anticipate, I mean, as you build up to 110th anniversary celebrations on Saturday, that there'll be a lot of interest from your members, and on the back of a bruising local government election campaign in the year where you are building up to your national conference in December.
It's just another display as to the resonance that the African National Congress is very far from the people that it ought to serve, including its very own members. Because if there wasn't social distancing between the African National Congress, between the African National Congress and its supporters and its members, they would have anticipated this very well. They would have known that, number one, there are those who plan to disrupt, there are those who plan to come in, and there are those who want to attend come hell or high water. This is just another display, and I mean, really, this is not an attack on the ANC, but it's truly a display that the ANC needs to get closer to the ground. It needs to put its ear onto the ground, and it needs to get closer to its membership to understand the dynamics. They should have foreseen this if they had prepared thoroughly.
And don't go anywhere, Thabo. I want to go back to Polokwane while we still have you connected and bring in Pule. Pule, just come back and tell us what's the latest developments, what's happening now?
All right, so Dan, what we're going to do now is we're going to make our way to the KZN Premier, Sihle Zikalala, who we do understand as well was part of the generation of the likes of, ANC elections head, Fikile Mbalula, and they were also part of the young, generation that was once part of the ANC's youth structure within the party. So we said we were going to speak to him, and he allowed us to speak to him. Premier, thank you very much for joining us on eNCA. Now, we are seeing what's happening, and today the memorial lecture was supposed to take place, but it didn't. While others wanted to make their way in, others also say that there was a problem of administrative processes. What message does this send?
I think the ANC Youth League is in a better position to respond to that. And you can see there is a leadership of the Youth League who can talk to that. I'm not sure whether it's cancelled, as you are saying, I don't know. I think the Youth League can talk to that.
All right, Joy, we particularly wanted to speak to the Premier because he was part of those as well who were once in the ANC Youth League, and I'd want to be sure that you've also picked up some few lessons from that generation as well. Will this event take place, and will this commemoration take place today?
Thank you very much. Once again, as we've indicated that yes, the program will continue, although of course not in a fashion that we had planned it to take place. So we'll no longer be having the program inside the hall. The President is on his way. We'll be briefing him about the situation outside, and the President will go and address the young people outside. However, it is not, of course, as we had anticipated it to be, inside the hall, a lecture, a formal lecture, due to the situation outside. But the President will be speaking to young people commemorating the former President, Comrade Peter Mokaba.
Joy, on a separate matter, are you guys ready for the conference that's expected to take place in a couple of months from now?
The conference that is supposed to take place in March, our revised roadmap says that our conference is going to take place in March. Yes, we are. We are busy preparing. Branches are sitting, BGMs are sitting. So we are definitely preparing ourselves for a conference in March.
And you remain united ahead of that conference that's expected to take place?
Are we?
Do you remain united as well as the structure?
Yes, yes. Every structure has its own issues. There is no structure that does not have challenges, that does not face challenges. However, we have a way as an organization to collectively deal with challenges so that we can have an ethical and a credible Congress of the ANC Youth League.
Right, Joy, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, Pradan, we'd hope to speak to the KZN Premier, Sihle Zikalala, but I assume that he didn't want to steal the limelight from the ANC Youth League National Task Team structure, saying that they should speak to us rather. But I mean, we got a sense of what's happening, that the event will be taking place in a few minutes from now. Of course, they're just anticipating the President's arrival. One thing for sure that I can tell you is that, you know, the security presence is quite heavy compared to what we saw yesterday. And in just a few moments from now, the President will be speaking to some of the ANC Youth League members and, of course, supporters ahead of this memorial lectural program celebrating the life and time of the former President of the ANC Youth League, Peter Mokaba.
Yeah, he was a fiery leader, and he challenged authority as and when, and maybe that's his spirit there that's moving among those ANC Youth League members, Pule. Some of them have already told you, and Thabo Shole-Mashao, political analyst who's with us at this hour, he has also alluded to. Thabo, it looks like it will no longer be a lecture, but it looks like it's going to be an address now by the ANC president addressing the young people who have gathered there. I guess, though, the significance of it would be when and if that address happens, there will still be an opportunity to honor the memory of the late Peter Mokaba.
Perhaps it will be done in a way that he would have preferred, in front of a huge crowd and young people being present, as opposed to a seating arrangement inside a hall. And perhaps, as you've said, Pradan, his spirit is prevalent to insist that this is the 20th year of his passing away, 20th anniversary of his passing away, as he passed on in 2002. And we do know that today he'd be 63 years old. So maybe there is a bigger force that is at play today. But indeed, it would be outside, as they are saying it will take perhaps a format of a rally as opposed to a lecture. Nonetheless, one would hope that the core message would not change with the venue. It will still remain, and the values of Peter Mokaba and his way of addressing issues, his ideological outlook, and his love for the ANC. I'm hoping that it will still be the theme that will be carried forth, despite as to where it is being held, despite the change of the venue. And it's quite a difficult one, Pradan. Sorry,
Yeah.
apologies, Pradan. Go ahead.
No. You said it's quite a difficult one. Carry on. I'll hold my thoughts.
So I was saying it is quite a difficult one to deliver a lecture on Peter Mokaba and his spirit and his radicalism, given that the ANC Youth League, I know many will fight with me, but it's almost relatively dead. It is not the Youth League that it used to be. It's not there. We last saw a very vibrant youth league at their 54th National Congress in Galaga Estate in 2011. I think we remember that. And from there, we saw the decline after the suspension of Julius Malema, Ronald Lamona Genetswe, and many others. That particular leadership was suspended. And from then, we have seen the decline in the life of a participatory and very active youth league. So today, whoever is delivering that speech will find it very difficult to truly convince us that the ANC Youth League is vibrant, it is what it used to be, and it still roars as it once did.
Yeah, and if you go back to its roots, and you were sort of, you and I were almost aligned in thinking, because I was thinking they have their conference coming up in March. I mean, it's like in 2 months' time, and this incident today could be holding some valuable lessons for them as they prepare for that conference.
It is, and it is holding perhaps a bigger lesson for the ANC mother body not to interfere too much in the affairs of the Youth League. It holds a bigger lesson for the ANC leadership to say, how do you revive the structure to go back to what it used to be, especially given that the political space has been occupied by the likes of the EFF right now, and more young people, the sloganeering and the vibrancy and the radicalism the radicalism of the ANC Youth League now resides in the EFF. I mean, the slogan, you'd remember it quite well at the time, Brad, then economic freedom in our lifetime. That slogan used to belong in the ANC Youth League. But now more and more people find resonance with that struggle, with that slogan within the EFF. So it's an uphill climb right now for the Youth League to come and redefine itself. But mostly, and I repeat, mostly, for the ANC mother body to get its tentacles off the Youth League, to allow young people to determine their own future, and to remember that the league is also an independent body, and the lesser hands there are of the ANC Youth League mother body leaders on the league, the better for the league to find itself.
Yeah, and if you go back to its origins, I mean, way back in the 40s, when the ANC Youth League came about, I think it was finally established in 1944. The idea was that the young people then, the likes of Walter Sisulu, Anton Lembede, Nelson Mandela and others, felt that the leadership of the organization, the mother body, was too conservative, not radical enough, not militant enough against, that was the word, in the fight against oppression and racism and colonial rule at the time in 1944. Today there are different challenges, and young people want to be heard, and they want to be listened to. As you said, they need to be left alone to really craft the way forward. But I wonder if the mother body of the ANC, which is beset with so many problems today, for example, for the first time in its history, 110th year history, it's got a suspended Secretary General. It's never happened in the ANC. I wonder if this mother body is ready and willing and open to letting the Youth League do its thing, so to speak.
Indeed, Braden. It was on the 10th of September 1944 when the Youth League was officially put together, and you are raising a very important point. I remember at some point, you would know that they went to the then president of the African National Congress. I think it was Dr. Xuma, A.P. Xuma, and Nelson Mandela was one of those who went to the house of the then president to ask him, to actually challenge him about his conservative stance, and more and more they were saying to him he shouldn't stand in the upcoming elections, because they were really fed up with the snail pace and conservative way of doing things. This was in 1944, and we realize that right now the Youth League, we hear lesser and lesser of them. How many of them do carry that spirit forward? But also, it's not in the interest, politically speaking, of the leaders of the mother body to have their hands off completely, because they realize the potential, the strength, and the magnanimity of the youth league that is left alone, a youth league that can even topple them. So if they do not necessarily have a hold on the youth league, they worry about their own political ambitions and political future.
But they should only worry, Thabo, about their political future as leaders of the motherboard if they're not delivering on its programs, which is what happened then way back in 1944. Otherwise, they should be welcoming the radicalization of the youth. As you said, I mean, they should be like the young lions who roar, which will help the motherboard that's beset with so many problems, maybe even to refresh itself.
Certainly. And I mean, as older leaders, they would find it very difficult to connect with someone who's an 18-year-old young South African whose needs are different to those of the generation of the 70s and the 80s. And the youth league, a vibrant youth league would be able then to connect, send a message, and really close ranks with young people of South Africa generally, because they would know that to approach these young people, we need to create young people's festival. They listen to this music, they wear these clothes, this is the language that they speak. But if you have a secretary general, if you have a president, if you have the DSG, if you have the treasurer who is easily 20, 30, even 40 years older than the current crop of young people, how will they connect? It is the youth league that needs to be on the ground, in campuses, in clubs, there I say, and trying to spread the message of the ANC, if at least successfully. And the sooner the leadership realizes that a vibrant youth league will serve their interests, the better.
Now, Thabo, you and I last week spoke previewing tomorrow, which is January 8th, and we don't know what will be in that statement. But looking at what's happening today, just ahead of that, in terms of the young people, they were standing up and saying, no, we also want to listen to our president. And very briefly, I mean, should there be a change in the core message? Should there be a tweak? Should Cyril Ramaphosa come out of today and say, hey, maybe tomorrow I need to do something? Okay, we're going to go back to Polokwane. Let's go back to Polokwane. Sorry, Thabo, I need to go back to Polokwane. And I think there's some activity happening. There's Pamanda Gok. I don't know if you can hear me. What's happening?
The president of the African National Congress, Cyril Ramaphosa, has arrived, and look at his security here, not taking chances. I can pretty much tell you that they are on high alert. He has just arrived literally a few seconds ago, as you see him disembarking. My colleague Mkhomotsi showing you the arrival of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. Let's see if we can get a proper visual of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa here. He is greeting Joe Maswanganye, one of the former leaders of the ANC Youth League here. His security detail is really tough this time around. They are not taking chances, and I'm sure he's going to go into a briefing room. He's going to go inside the holding room. He is also currently greeting Nongceba Mhlauli, one of the leaders of the national task team of the ANC Youth League. Hello, President. How are you? How are you feeling today, Mr. President?
I want to greet those young people. Are very well.
Are you well?
No, they mustn't open the gate. They mustn't open the gate. I just want to greet them.
Okay. Well, the Presidential Protection Unit telling us that we need to back off for now. We're trying to get a word from the President. He said he wanted to greet the young people, but his security detail has advised him to go back inside because they were opening the gate there, and I'm sure they are trying to avoid a stampede and chaos here. His close protectors trying by all means to ensure that they've got the situation under control, especially with the latest developments and the altercation that we have seen during earlier on when we were preparing for these live crossings. There were scuffles outside the gate here. So the president is inside, the ANC president is inside there
consulting with the leaders of the ANC Youth League. I see former leaders making their way inside the close protectors. Sihle Zikalala, who's the former secretary of the ANC Youth League, is also inside there. Joe Maswanganye, one of the former leaders of the ANC Youth League, all of them are inside there. And the current officials of the National Task Team of the ANC Youth League are inside there. They are trying to ensure that they brief the president about what has transpired earlier on here today. He has to be briefed on what has caused the delay. Remember, it's a jam-packed political event, this one. Since the morning, there have been activities here in Polokwane, and those activities have included the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, playing golf in a fundraising campaign for the cash-strapped ANC, and now he was meant to address the Peter Mokaba Memorial Lecture, which was meant to start at 2 o'clock, and right now it's 1 minute past 4, and it's definitely delayed, and there were concerns that these delays will further delay other programs that are planned. I just want to show you, they are coming out now here. I've just heard that the president is coming out, his presidential, the Presidential Protection Unit here. They were just having a very brief meeting here, and now he's coming out as he's going to address the young people there outside the venue. I say, Mr. Maswanganye here, let's try and just walk in front of the cameras here so that we'll get a proper visual and view of ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa. So we will walk around the track, and this is where he's going to walk, and he's currently greeting young people. You will have to pardon me because I'm being drowned by noise here. There's too much noise here. And but currently what is happening is that the ANC president is just greeting some young, or not so young people, but some people who have come here to basically listen to the Peter Mokaba Memorial Lecture. Outside this venue, I can tell you that it's song and dance. Ramaphosa Dumela, ANC Youth League members greeting the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa.